everyone, and welcome back. And I have John Plasse with me, Supervisor District 1. I think you're kind of filling in for Richard Forster, who's got this Supervisor pre-agenda report down pat. I think he's been doing it for 7 years or something.
Is that right?
Maybe 9.
Cut me a little slack on that. I haven't practiced like Richard has.
Okay, and Richard, I think, is at a meeting with down in the Big Easy, I believe.
I believe so. He's
for counties.
Yeah, National Association of Counties, NACO, and Richard is at a conference down there, I believe, in New Orleans.
Okay, so, you know, it's interesting. Sometimes people, like the last election cycle, we heard, like, well, what do the supervisors do? I don't know, they're at their office or something, and you guys are on a lot of committees.
At least 15 per board member.
Wow.
Other committees other than the Board of Supervisors. So, yeah, there's no shortage of meetings to attend, agendas to read, decisions to make.
We have I believe from what I've heard, like we have a lot of leadership positions as well, or, you know, second, you know, either like the president of some of the committees or the vice chair.
Oh, very much so.
Right.
Yeah, frequently those organizations will turn, in many instances, to one of the supervisors to chair the committee or serve as president or take a more active role.
Okay, now usually what Richard Forster starts off with, he usually says something like, we're going to have a light agenda, we should be able to get through this pretty fast. And then he goes through it. We're going to have a light or heavy?
It's really a pretty light agenda. Richard is always famous for saying, I could have had that meeting over in a half hour, and we joke with him about that. But no, tomorrow's meeting is going to be pretty light, and we're going to start off with a host of retirement resolutions. And these are folks that availed themselves of the early retirement option that the county, that the Board of Supervisors voted to instill as a means of balancing our budget going into this year. Okay. So some folks took advantage of that, and we're going to miss
all of these people did? Mike Boitano was early retirement?
Yep.
Well, I think he's been there forever.
He's been there 24 years, I think Mike said. I went to a little party for him on Saturday, and he said it's been a good run for 24 years. And as you know, Mike also served as our Amador County Pollution Control Officer for the Air District for several years now, probably 5 or 6, I'd say. And that's been a real good fit. We're having to make that decision now. It's a combination decision between the Board of Supervisors and who the county can make available to serve in that role. Because it's a part-time role, but still very active in some instances, and who we can make available, and then whether the Air District Board, which is comprised not only of the Board of Supervisors, but representatives from all the cities, if they wish to enter into a management agreement to have a county employee provide that part-time role.
Chuck Eiley play a good position in that, try to find a good fit for the board as well?
He does. Chuck and I bounce a lot of ideas off of each other, and Chuck is very much a fiscal conservative, and he's certainly proven to be a good choice on our part when Terry Daly resigned from her position and we needed to refill that position. I think Chuck's done an excellent job, and I don't mind saying so on camera, Chuck.
Okay. Why don't we go through the rest of the upcoming retirees?
So some of the folks that are retiring, Connie Murdoch. Connie has worked with the library, also served a lot of functions as far as honoring all the volunteer hours that are contributed both at the library and animal control. And there's just a million places where the citizens of Amador County step up to volunteer for various county departments, whatever their passion is. And Connie's been very instrumental in seeing to it that those folks are recognized at our annual awards luncheon. So we'll miss Connie. Mike Boitano, as we mentioned, is sailing off into the sunset and enjoying every minute of it as of Saturday this last weekend. John Vale has served as the animal control officer for a lot of years.
Should probably miss John Vale, too. He's done a very good job there.
He has. He came in a pretty tumultuous time there at Animal Control and sort of righted the ship and really has run a good operation and gained a lot of respect throughout the community.
We've had Susan Manning on last week, and she is... it's amazing how many cats, I think it's 92%, get adopted, and dogs are close to that number. I think we're the poster child for a good run animal control and adoption center.
And a lot of that is through the APAL organization too, and and Susan. They do. They're
dedicated people, and of course you have you have a nice facility there as well.
Right, and they're dedicated to that. Also, John Yorkie, who's been the head of the Public Works maintenance, California Air Resource Board compliance officer, got to keep the county fleet in compliance with all the state regulations, CHP safety tests, all those kinds of things. John's done that for years and is looking forward to a break. Tony Maris has been with their environmental health department and been one of those inspectors that has had to go out and do the inspections on whether it be leach field inspections or community water systems and some of the air environmental health things related to the air district as well. And then Estela Valdez has been in the district attorney's office. I don't know all the numbers of years that these folks have been here, but they've all been valued longtime employees.
Okay.
So we're going to recognize them first off, and then our next item is under the General Services Administration. We were willed, if you will, an estate of very collectible furniture, antique pieces from the Rab Collins estate, part of the Rab Park family that developed that up country, and
there were some issues with part of it.
And they did. They wanted to provide it to the county as well as some real property, and if the county couldn't use the real property, then that was going to go, I believe, to the Catholic Church. It kind of got into a mess with the people that were entrusted with the administering that estate. But in the end, we have all this collection of furniture. Some of it will be on display in the museum. The Historical Society stepped up and said, we could really use some of these pieces to more fully augment the museum. But the rest of it will be sold in a public auction environment specific to furniture of this caliber.
I think it was a specific that some of the chairs for a dining room set were going to be possibly removed from the set, which devalued the set.
Right, and the Historical Society changed their mind on that, and the board was supportive of not breaking up a set. If the goal is to sell these assets and provide for continuing operations of the museum, because that's essentially what they were willed to in the first place. The museum can't fit it all, but can use the funding to help continue our county museum being open. So we'll go through that process. Next up is our draft general plan and draft EIR. Both of those are soon to be released for the public review section of things. And we'll need to develop our process, how long the comment period will be for public review, what our noticing requirements will be as far as the public noticing for public hearings. And staff is just looking for a little greater direction on how the board sees that process playing out.
I think we'll take a break. We'll come back, maybe talk a little bit more of that right after the break. So stay with us right here on TSPN.
You're watching Amador County's local television network, TSPN.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back. Tom Slivick with Supervisor of District 1, John Plasse. John, we were just talking about the
general plan?
Right. And it's kind of good news, almost surprising to hear that it's going to be moving out. So if this, we're coming out, talking about it more. Tomorrow you're going to be talking about the process of how
we
it's
move
going to
it
work
forward
out. Okay,
from here.
well, go ahead and describe that for us.
Well, as I'd mentioned, we're touching on notification requirements and general timelines for public review, but a lot of people have asked, why has it taken so long? And people need to understand that that responsibility falls largely in our planning department, and we had three resignations out of the planning department, and it took the planning department from 5 people down to 2 people. And those positions were not replaced immediately, so the planning department has been trying to get all their other work done along with their staff review of the general plan, the draft general plan. So it's taken some time, but hopefully we've got it to a point where we can move it forward now, put it out to the public, solicit the comments from the public after the required period, respond to those comments, and bring forward a final.
Okay, so that sounds pretty good. After you put these in place, you have an idea of when the public will be commenting on it, or you have workshops? That's what you're trying to say. We have.
Well, we'll have
workshops,
public hearings. I'm not
public
sure they'll be
hearings.
described
Okay.
as a
All
workshop,
right.
but we'll have public hearings to.
Probably the workshops were to get the input.
Right,
Okay.
right, initially, and now it's comments on the draft documents that have been put together. So that'll probably occur, gosh, I'm guessing, Tom, but I'm going to say probably a month and a half or two from now, tops, is when we'll be going into that season of general plan public hearings.
Okay, all right, that's
So-
great. And what's next, John?
What's next?
Well, before we get to what's next, let's talk about. I know this is near and dear to your heart. Not necessarily that Bigelow and Berry Hill are visiting, but it's near and dear to your heart as the Amador County, the Learning Center,
Right, right.
and that's coming along very nicely.
It is, it is.
And they're up here for the other part. Now I'll give them some kudos to come on up and check it out and see what a nice job's been done. Right.
They are. I believe they've got other functions to attend here in the county that day, but they are coming up, both Assemblymember Bigelow and Senator Berryhill, to tour the Amador Learning Centers to see what the Amador Community College Foundation has put together in the way of a learning environment up at the HHS building, our computer labs up there where we're offering full degree programs online. We're offering scholarship programs through the Mental Health Services Act for folks wishing to go into social service areas of endeavor. And we've also just recently established a sort of a new relationship, partnership, if you will, with Shasta Community College to offer the ITV courses, which are the fully interactive televised courses that we've been offering up at the Transportation Commission building, the Sutter Hill Transit Center up there.
Okay.
We've offered classes through Folsom Lake College and continue to do so, and we now are able to offer even more classes through Shasta College, and they in fact have full degree programs as well in that ITV or interactive televised environment. So exciting things. I mean, I've just got a phenomenal group. We talked about committees that we all serve on, and
Right.
Past Supervisor Richard Vinson asked me to sort of carry this ball when I was elected to the board.
Right.
So I've been chairing the Community College Foundation, but we've got some great people working on that commission, from Paul Molinelli Jr., Karen Dickerson, past recently retired Argonaut High School counselor Janice Davis, Frank Lashinsky, just a host of people that are incredibly dedicated. I can't keep up with them. They're so
They sound like
immersed in this.
You've really learned a lot. From,
I have.
On this
I have.
subject, how it's happening. I think it's going to be a lot of the future. Maybe not the immediate future.
We're
But it's certainly
sort of
gonna
at the
catch
cutting
on.
edge
Right.
of things, I really think. But you hear the governor, you hear the state legislature all talk about the need for efficiencies in that education and online learning and this ITV
Right.
format. And they're talking the talk. We hope that by exposing them to what we've been able to do with the limited resources that we've had, that maybe they help us advance it to the next level and really make a complete.
So that's going to be on Friday.
Yeah, that's this
So
Friday.
I think we were talked about the general plan, and what's following that on the agenda?
As far as on the agenda, just one more request from some folks that are building some farm labor housing out there, looking to finance their traffic mitigation fees over a period of time. So that's relatively innocuous, I'd say. But
Okay.
we are receiving, and you and I touched on it at the break, a lot of comment letters on the potential arrival of a Dollar General store up
Okay.
in the Pine Grove area. And I know you live up in the Pine Grove area.
Right.
And
I believe Sue has. There's, we're checking that stuff out. A lot of buzz on the internet, local internet sites about those, and I think the buzz is basically one in Upcountry, one in Pine Grove, and a possibility one in Plymouth as well. So, and what have you heard?
Well, I've heard that one of the top officials of Dollar General has indicated that they'd like to work with some of the incorporated cities. You named Plymouth. I've heard Jackson's name thrown out. I've heard Ione's name thrown out there as other locations
So,
for those stores.
the way you're saying this is Dollar, they haven't approached you, these things. I don't mean you necessarily, but the board, they haven't come to
No,
the Board of
because
Supervisors?
the location that they're proposing on building that is a location that's been general plan designated for commercial development since the 80s. It's properly zoned for commercial development. The owner of that property is Mr. Rapini, and he has contributed right-of-way access for roadway improvements up
We're
there.
talking now specifically Pine Grove.
Specifically the
right,
Pine Grove,
right.
right.
Okay.
Right, at the Ridge Road in 88.
Right.
So, it's one of those things about development. You try to plan for it in general plans. You designate the land, you zone the land. Somebody comes in and invests money in the development of the infrastructure there. And now a business has come forth and said, we're willing to locate there and build a building and so forth. And it sounds like much of the buzz is that this particular business is not the kind of business that some members of the community up there are interested in seeing, and seems like they're asking local government to sort of pick the winners and losers, if you will, on businesses, and rather than allow a business that wants to take a risk and start up. If you don't want or like the business in your neighborhood, don't patronize the business, but to try to turn to government to deny them what they are allowed to do by right in terms of the property owner to construct a building to house that business on a build-to-suit basis. I'm not sure it's in
So
the
I think
purview of
basically what you were
government.
describing is like a free, enterprise.
Right.
And
right.
maybe, not, almost to me, it kind of seems like the community, if I don't know if I'm saying this right, because basically what you had said is like, that's in our zoning, you're going to see it, it's in the general plan, this is what's allowed there. And then it seemed like the community, some members, like you said also, because certainly can't be the community as a whole.
No, I don't believe so.
Would like to come forward and say, we don't want that there. But it would seem to me that a lot of members of the community would, alike in this, especially this hard economic time, to say this would be where we might be able to buy goods and services, maybe not services, but get them at a very competitive price. And competition is what drives so much of the marketplace to be efficient.
It is, and competition makes better business people out of those faced with competition.
I believe
has
it's
been
said
always
what
my
makes
belief.
what makes Ford a good automobile, and the answer is Chevrolet.
Yeah, yeah. I know I experienced it for 25 years in the Sacramento area. I had jewelry store, as you
Right.
recall, and I mean, there were 200 plus jewelry stores listed in the phone book in Sacramento, and I, as a startup jeweler, had to compete with those 200, many of them big box type operations, all the way from Macy's and Nordstrom's on down to Costco started selling diamonds. And it makes you a better business person to understand how you can fill certain niches in the marketplace that the big boxes can't fill, whether it be on the service side of things, customer service. Everything isn't just pricing.
I think, and maybe that'll be in the general plan somewhere, and we're running out of time, but might be, or I would find sympathy with someone saying we would like it to look like this, so it fits the community, so it's not, a standout eyesore. And I'm not suggesting that it is. I haven't seen any plans whatsoever.
I don't
but I'm
know
just
either,
saying
but-
where you could say we have this look in the community. We would like that to be a part of the process. Now,
And then we'd have to do that for everyone. You can't just single them out and say, we want you to adhere to a design standard. You'd have to do that for every other business as well.
I hear you.
So,
I
do
get
people
that.
really want that?
Okay. I'm not sure, John. And we could leave it at that, other than let's invite everybody to the Board of Supervisors meeting. It's at what time?
It is at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, which is, help me, July
Tuesday.
15th.
Sounds
Tuesday,
good to
July
me.
15th.
All right.
At 9 o'clock at 810 Court Street.
Okay.
Jackson, California.
And I'd like to invite people too, if you can't go to that, they have a website that streams the audio, and it's a really good thing to listen to what's going on there as well. If you can't participate, it's nice to hear the voices of your government, and who knows? Maybe they'll get stirred up and jump off your chair and run down there and,
No, it is good. I mean, if people can log on to the website and listen to the entire meeting or those sections that they're particularly interested in without having to make the drive, like you said, it gives them good insight into how these decisions are made.
kind of like that distance learning.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Okay. See, it's all coming.
Just like being there.
Information is, there's so much information, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm Tom Slivick. Thanks for watching TSPN. Thanks, John, for coming by and
Thank you, Tom.
Giving us a report. We'll see you again next time.
You're watching Amador County's local television network, TSPN.